normal people become terrified of criminals.
Shots were just fired. Police just came out and told us, and we're headed there right now.
They become terrified of their own government.
From NBC News, I love this. How the GOP muzzled the quiet coalition that fought foreign propaganda. Ooh, that sounds like the GOP's up to no good. What's this all about? The FBI put a pause on briefings with tech companies due to an ongoing lawsuit, adding to a broader breakdown in a system meant to guard against influence operations and to ensure election integrity. I don't buy it for a second. These people are evil as evil can be. But let me read you the opening paragraph. A once robust alliance of federal agencies, tech companies, election officials, and researchers that work together to thwart foreign propaganda and disinformation has fragmented after years of sustained Republican attacks.
Man, it just reads like propaganda.
This is
Republicans are mean to the FBI. They just are ruining
so an
their lives.
illegal and unconstitutional conspiracy between intelligence agencies and tech companies to silence the opinions of American citizens has been thwarted, and they're crying about it. You know what's really funny? When these things happen, the one thing you got to do is look to who gets laid off. What's this? Around the same time that NBC is reporting the fracturing of this government coalition, there's a bunch of layoffs being reported at various digital media outlets. I wonder why that is. How much do you want to bet the federal government is illicitly supplying funding to digital media companies to hire people specifically for the purpose of lying to manipulate the public?
Well, didn't Vice just lay off some more people and
Sure
Jubilee
did.
completely shut down?
Jezebel's gone.
Yeah, Jezebel.
But that's just a public service. You know, that's good for
No
everyone.
coincidence. Yeah, no coincidence.
And they're like, you know what? Our business isn't aligned. And I'm not saying that these companies are funded by the CIA or anything like that. But if you do the research, and there's a lot of stories that we've talked about over the years, and stories that I've covered several years ago, you do often see this. There is government programs that provide funding that typically get used for propagandistic efforts. We know that the federal government provides crap loads of monies to public radio, which gets they do this game where it's like NPR doesn't get government funding. And then it turns out that no, some other organization gets funding, which then provides funding to NPR. So it's circuitous, but we see what you're doing.
The CIA would never fund something to further push their interests. They've never done that, right?
But I do think it's interesting. And that's all I'm saying. I am not saying I have any evidence. I'm saying it's very interesting that whenever you get these stories of like government programs ending, there's a bunch of layoffs in the corporate press. How about that? So what's the story about? The tech companies were colluding with the government to suppress the free speech of American citizens in violation of the First Amendment. They got caught. The Republicans are shutting them down, and now they're whinging about it.
Do you think people read this first sentence, a once robust alliance of federal agencies, tech companies, election officials, and researchers, and think these are the people I want to have in a robust alliance?
These are the good guys.
Like,
yeah, these are the good ones.
This sounds like it really is looking out for me.
Or
Or do you
the
think
word integrity.
that's true? It means the opposite, right? But I just wonder if the average American looks at this and says, oh, they are trying to pull one over me, because people don't trust the government. Some do. Some portions of voters really trust it, but a lot of voters are skeptical of it. And so it makes me think if you saw these words strung together, you'd be like, this is a good thing. We don't want this once robust
But the way they
alliance.
wite it, they act like it's such a big tragedy.
Yeah.
These people are abject evil. I'm sorry. The CCP is evil. I think I can't speak too much to Vladimir Putin because I don't know enough about Russia, but he appears to do many things that I would describe as self-interested and evil. But the CCP, I think, takes the cake. Russia may be a bit more vague and nebulous in terms of...
CCP is bad, though.
CCP is just abject evil. We can see the things they do in terms of militaristic expansion, the way they seize property, the way they control the lives of the people who live in China, the videos of people being tortured by police. Yeah, it's not a fun place to live. I'm not saying Russia is, but they're not as bad as the CCP. Still, I'm not a big fan of Putin. But these intelligence agencies and the things they're doing, this is evil. I'm sorry. They might sit there and think, I'm the good guy. No, you're a crackpot, evil despot who thinks that your life is better than someone else's and you have a right to dictate what they think and do. You don't. I'll tell you what my view is. My view is more like, if the American people believe stupid things, they're allowed to believe stupid things. And then the intelligence agencies are like, but we have to go fight Putin. And if the American people are doing stupid things, we'll fail. I'm like, that's too bad. A decentralized system is better than a centralized one. And here's why. If it is that 60% of the Americans are so dumb, they vote for a dumb policy, which causes problems for this country and serious ones. It is better than if you have one crackpot who believes tons of crackpot things and then drives the country into the toilet. What appears to be happening now is this country is no longer operating in a decentralized way. So we are getting hyper-centralized, ideologically driven crackpot decisions by the deep state, which is destroying the country. And then in the meantime, they're saying, but it's everyone else who's the problem. Dude, let grandma post her stupid memes on Facebook. Let people be wrong and let the best ideas win. When you try to control everything and regulate everything, we look, there's a great meme Luke Rukowski posted, and it's the private sector from 1950 to today and the public sector from 1950 to today. And guess what? The private sector, it's like, this gigantic box computer in a warehouse and then a cell phone. And the public sector, everything's the exact same. Nothing improves. What these people do is they're stuck in this stagnant reality where they can't adjust to the changing world. And they think that the solutions are going to be 50-year-old solutions. They think that they have to control the minds of the American people, but this stagnates our ability to solve our own problems. So how about you let grandma post her memes, you shut up, and we'll vote for who we want to vote for, because we would be infinitely better off if Donald Trump won in 2020 than where we are today with a crippled economy on the verge of World War III. Hey, y'all lost the Ukraine war. I don't even think Putin would have invaded if Donald Trump was president. Here we are. Next thing that's going to happen is China's going to invade Taiwan and Joe Biden's going to go, oh, come on, man. And if Donald Trump was president, at the very least, these things would be happening slower. But I also think they probably wouldn't be happening at all.
Well, you see the parallels between how sensitive the CCP is about controlling information and about criticism within their own country. And it's almost like America is I'd say slowly, but more now fastly shifting to that same direction of you have to censor online. You have to absolutely control grandma's memes online, even if they're inaccurate or if they're accurate. And it's like America is essentially becoming the exact same thing that the CCP is, trying to control and centralize all this information. And they're just so sensitive. You can't critique the FBI. You can't critique these agencies. And if you do, you're going to get censored.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me think about the Twitter files, right? When Twitter files got released, mainstream media was sort of like, we don't want to acknowledge that we all knew this all along, and now we definitely have evidence that there's collusion between tech companies and federal agencies. And instead, later, they're like, how could you guys ruin our awesome relationship that we're actually very proud of? It seems like such a strange world, and the American voter is just expected to go along with it, right? I think that's the most insulting part.
Communism.
They didn't expect Elon Musk to buy Twitter.
Oh, I know. It's amazing.
It's a fun plot twist.
And Vijaya was crying, and I bet she cried a lot. But not because it's like, oh no, an evil man is going to make hate speech. No, because she's like, he's going to find what I said. And that's what happened. And then, here's the crazy thing too. I wish that Elon just dumped all of it.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't. It was select. It was search. And there's reasons for it. I mean, there's going to be stuff in there about passwords. There's going to be stuff in there about financials. That's too bad. I really wish he was just like, I bought Twitter and I'm going to publish everything. Their entire servers are now open to the public. Have fun.
Well, Vivek on Luke Radowski's podcast after the debate, yeah, if I can speak today, he laid out like almost a good 5-year plan about basically releasing Twitter files, but for all social media agencies, and just really exposing how deep all of this goes and how deep the CIA and the FBI actually meddle into it.
Mm-hmm.
Vivek's basically going up on stage and being like, anyone who's paying attention to what's going on, I have your answers. The problem is, to win votes, you probably have to, there's a reason why these politicians behave the way they do. Because Vivek going up there and saying, listen, this is a thing that's happening, a lot of people are going to be like, what's he talking about? Mm-hmm. And then you're going to get Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley saying some, blathering about some mindless platitudes, and it just sounds good.
I think there is a very serious division between those on Twitter and those who are not on Twitter in America, and it is weird. I mean, news moves much faster on Twitter, and there's information that circulates that becomes fact. Not saying it isn't fact, but becomes more publicly known. And then you'll get voters who don't use Twitter or who are just only really on Instagram, maybe check Facebook once in a while. And I honestly applaud those people, right? They're probably just living their lives, having a good time. On the other hand, they are not aware, and maybe they would feel the urgency, but they aren't moving as rapidly as everyone else.
It's like painful to watch every day, but you have to. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, if you miss a week, then you miss so much.
But some people can't. They have other things to do.
You know the meme of the two guys on the bus and one guy's looking at the dreary rocks, and the guy's looking at the valley and the sun, and the guy looking at the sun is smiling, and the guy looking at the cliff is sad. Someone posted that. It might have been. I don't want to drag the wrong account, but it was an account I follow. And the guy looking at the dreary cliffside, it said people who read the news or people who watch the news. And then the people smiling said people who don't watch the news. And I was like, the problem with that is that it's technically the other way around. A lot of people are like, man, the news is so depressing though. Yeah, but here's the thing. What it should be is if you want to do that, the guy who's watching the news is sad, but he's alive. And the guy who's not watching the news has a bunch of needles in his back, has a guy stealing money out of his back pocket. His kids are being dragged away by a creepo. And he's just like, I have no idea what's going on and I don't care. And it makes me happy. It's like, let the world collapse all around you. Let your children be indoctrinated and groomed. Your money be taken to blow up kids, to get injected full of crazy, whatever drugs a doctor, is claiming you got to get. And that's when you don't know what's going on in the world. You don't pay attention. You and your family suffer, and they suffer for the future generations suffer.
Those are the same people that, say, oh, as long as it doesn't affect me doing X or this, as long as I can get a beer at the end of the day, then, it doesn't worry me.
Yeah, but it'll affect
it worries you
eventually.
very quickly when things start hitting the fan as they are right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, sorry, you going to say something?
Oh, well, I was just going to say, Tim, we had I think Genocide Losing My Mind it was their year anniversary for that a couple days ago. I was reading a comment and someone was like, anyone back here a year later thinking like, wow, they knew ahead of time, crazy, because
knew ahead of time.
It was before the Ukraine thing.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.